Oh,
Welcome
we're
back
at the
to
end of the
FIFA
case
19.
already, I see.
Journey so far. Alex and Neymar talked about the importance of family, especially when you don't know how long you have for them.
Kind of hammering it into our heads.
And it was a dream come true for Danny, as he and Cardiff City won the Premier League with time in hand.
Yay.
But like Alex, there's still business to finish off before they can lift the trophy.
I'm
So I guess
surprised.
this part is dedicated to that.
I'm surprised that you didn't save
Yep.
this music for, like, the final recap, Dwibs, given how,
And I use another piece of music for that.
What's today?
Oh, Tackling Day, my favourite.
But
I
yeah.
wonder how.
But yeah, we do seem to be reaching near the end of this.
What is this?
Oh, is this from the 7 remake?
Again, I can't remember.
Okay, it might be, but it sounds a bit too chaotic.
Where would this have been from the 7 remake? I mean, unless they released Integrate soundtrack earlier.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, yes, in spite of the pandemic, I secretly flew to Square Enix offices in Japan and took the CD.
I mean,
That's
Dwibs,
diabolical.
I mean, Dwibs, companies leaking soundtracks happens more often than you would think.
True.
Why is the Williams footy on the team sheet? Because I score lots of goals, you prick.
I think remember when the demo of the 7 remake was released, the people were managing to data mine a
yes.
good chunk of the soundtrack that wasn't there.
Yeah, that was glorious. Like, to the point where even the One-Winged Angel
Oh my god, that shirt.
theme got leaked. To the point where, people guessed that meant a Sephiroth boss fight.
That shirt is just
Radical.
No, actually, no, Jova. Okay, what
There is
color...
actually a
oh,
shit
damn
like that in
removed it.
Splatoon.
What color was the shirt, Jova? Black and blue or yellow and
Shut
white?
up.
Come on, Shiro, enough time has passed.
Also,
It was actually black and blue, for the record.
Also, Dwibs, I see you're going back to the original hairdo. Want to close out the playthrough with the original deets?
Well, partially. Preferred any of that hairstyle anyway. I don't know what I was thinking with the other ones.
Okay. The mullet, I get it. You wanted to make a slap. But the bald one, yeah, like I said, does not suit Danny. Oh, God, I know
What is
this
this?
one.
Castlevania?
I think it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
wait,
NES song.
wait.
Doesn't
hold
it
on.
sound too happy
Wait,
to be
wait,
Yeah,
Castlevania?
it still has a Konami vibe.
Well, sure. There is a particular Castlevania game that can be very happy. Kid Dracula.
It just sounds too cute to be from
No. Seriously, sure. Kid Dracula is a Castlevania game that actually is.
That is actually true. But I get what Dwibs say because the TMNT and NES game was still published by Konami. So if I recall correctly, the composer Castlevania worked on that.
Let me put it like this, Shiroi. In his childhood, Alucard had to fight a giant chicken. It was weird.
Oh.
And off we go.
Much like Devil Kid from Atlus, it was an attempt for a Japanese publisher to actually try to appease to a younger demographic.
Hey, Tio, have you seen the Castlevania timeline that actually fits Kid Dracula in there?
No, actually I haven't.
It's on the same guy who did the Resident Evil timeline videos, but
No, I know it's still him. I just haven't had the time to follow him.
I love the fact that Kid Dracula is in the same chapter as stuff like Lament of Sorrow. Oh, and the Castlevania Netflix series, which has literal blood and gore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another recent thing this game added was the commentators reacting to the noises of the fans. Like just then, they reacted saying, "Oh, the fans thought that was a penalty."
Was that something that was added for the PS5 version?
No, no. This, even though I'm playing this off the PS5, it's still a PS4 version.
Oh, so well, considering how late we are in mentioning that, I thought you were going to mention because of the thing that changed.
So let me guess, important game, so no cuts.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, it's the final game of the season for Cardiff City. After this, they're going to lift the trophy.
Actually, I kind of wonder, though. So what could be Danny's Chapter 4, then, if this is pretty much concluding his season?
I get the idea of a
League
chapter.
final.
I get the idea of
Oh,
a
I
chapter
guess
4
that.
for everyone. Also, chapter 4 for everyone is basically a giant conclusion that sees all the fans merging together in
You see, the
one.
thing is, Jova,
Again, Jova,
Danny.
alien invasion. I'm betting on it.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, Jova, Danny and Alex share chapter 4s.
Oh, right, because their teams are playing against each other, aren't they?
Yes.
Oh, so it's gonna be a tight choice.
So that's weird. So, and I guess in Kim's case, it's just her doing her own thing.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, Kim's got the Women's World Cup final.
Again,
Okay.
it feels so weird when they detached the plot line so much compared to the other two.
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing too. Is like, I mean, up until this point, it felt more like Alex's story was tied in more with Kim's story, and then now all of a sudden, it's like they pulled the reverse Uno card on us, and suddenly have Danny and Alex's
Like I
literally sharing
mentioned,
a chapter.
Like I mentioned, I get the idea that these people behind this are not too much experienced in managing, and I get the ambition behind it, having these three major plot lines intertwining together, potentially. It's just, sadly, not, at least so far, the execution is a bit, inexperienced. That's the better term to describe that.
I've also noticed a bit of an issue here. Is it just me, or does every franchise these days feel like it needs to either be a full-fledged giant franchise worthy of a cinematic universe, or being restricted to just a trilogy? Like, it feels like people are afraid of either, not being way
the
more
whole
than
rule
just
of trilogies has been around forever.
Well, I get that, but I mean, my point
That
is,
doesn't make it any less of a problem now, though.
yeah, like seriously though, not everything needs to be kept to just 3. Like, if a story needs more than 3 chapters to properly be told, let it be told in more than 3 chapters, or be willing to let those installments have as much time and love as they need. Case in point, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, say what you will about the issues of the director's cut and whatnot, but goddamn, those movies really did put in as much as they could.
So what happened to The Hobbit then?
The Hobbit is
Executive meddling,
exceedingly...
Dwibs. Executive meddling, as usual.
Remember, Dwibs, Peter Jackson actually did not want those movies to be as bloated as they were, but he got
Not to mention he wasn't even involved with the project in the first place. Yeah, well, the Toro was.
Oh, yeah, that too.
And he is still credited as a scriptwriter.
Sorry, go on, Shiro. You can mention later.
Was just about to say, don't do the opposite and force a trilogy out of something that could be and should be told in one installment.
Yeah, that
maybe
definitely.
2.
Like, okay, maybe you could. That's the thing. With the Hobbit trilogy, it does feel like they legit. Okay, yeah, there are some interesting ideas here that you could argue maybe was proper to flesh it out, but it does feel like.
I agree with Dwibs. I think 2 parts would have been enough. Not too much, but not too little at the same. Well, whoever said it, I agree on that.
I know Shiro and Dwibs are kind of the same person, but come on.
Of course. Not too much, but not too little at the same time.
Yeah.
But no, you also have to remember that when originally getting actually the right to make the Lord of the Rings movies was kind of a pain for everyone involved. At some point, Fox wanted to do it by having the I forgot which specific director doing it, but since he couldn't get it, instead he made Zardos, which is interesting as a different choice to do that. Ralph Bakshi manages to get the right temporarily and didn't manage to finish the entire thing, so Rankin Bass sent to fill in the gaps with interesting result. Well, to be fair, I kind of like their animated adaptation of The Hobbit. It's kind of a guilty pleasure on that front. Disney wanted to have a piece of that pie, but never managed to get it. And when Peter Jackson managed to finally do it, thanks to his him being a colossal nerd, it was with New Line Cinema, who at the time was not fully integrated with Warner Bros. When instead he came out about to The Hobbit, I get the idea that the Tolkien estate was not really ecstatic to have business with Warner Bros. In the first place, but they didn't really have much of a choice, probably because of contractual things. Mind you, it's just speculation at this point. But keep in mind that right after the Hobbit trilogy was finished, the Warner Bros. And the Tolkien estate trilogy severed a lot of ties. Not completely, mind you. Warner Bros. Still is handling most of the video games, not everyone. A couple of them are being done by people who want that.
Well,
And we're still responsible for the upcoming series. So
yeah, I think Amazon are doing the series.
But if I correctly, you told me that there is still some supervision from Warner Bros. But the point being that the Tolkien estate has decided to not having to hang around with just one type of crowd these days.
Probably for the
No
best.
red spots, which is fine by me. As long as the final product is good enough, I don't really complain.
So, with the Hobbit trilogy, remind me, did
Yeah,
those...
at least according to the Wikipedia page, one of the production companies listed is New Line Cinema.
So,
Yes.
with the Hobbit trilogy, did that at least make a good penny here and there, or were those bombs?
Oh, I haven't checked. Well, keep in mind, Jova, if you remember, you're talking with the person who actually went to see the Two Towers 7 times in theaters. I actually didn't manage to see any single of the Hobbit movie in cinemas, and it's kind of paradoxical. It wasn't even intentional. It was mostly because I either was sick or I couldn't find the time to actually do it.
The universe did not want you to see those movies for some
And
reason.
that's kind of a shame, Shiri, because due to coincidences, The Hobbit was one of the first major type of books that I got to read because it was actually suggested for me to do it in school. So that was pretty neat. And that was before the movies were actually released. Not too long, but a bit before the movies were released. And around the same time, I also coincidentally had watched the Ralph Bakshi version, which is bizarre, but still pretty neat. So I have a sort of an attachment to The Hobbit on a nostalgic level. And while I like some of the things that the Peter Jackson movies did, the fact that they diverge at some point too much from the source material is kind of breaking it for me. As you know, I'm fine for addition as long as you stay, as you actually manage to adapt the story. Fair enough. If you want to add from that, I'm mostly fine with it. But the Hobbit movies take too many liberties for me.
I'll put it this way: I tried to watch the first one for its extended cut. I gave up about halfway through.
For instance, let me make an example. The addition of characters like Radagast, well, the entire subplot of the Necromancer is the addition that I wanted the most because it's kind of integral and connects well to the Lord of the Rings. So that one I'm definitely defending until the day I die. I know that Radagast may appear as an annoying comic relief character, but it kind of was like that also in the books. So I'm more willing to give a pass on that.
Whoa!
And of all things, I'm actually also fine with the addition of the elf character from Thranduil's court. I forgot what she's called by. The one that she gets a love interest, basically forms a love relationship to one of the dwarves. It's a bit Hollywood cheesy, but I do believe it's spiced enough. Less much is Legolas continuing to be OP and literally untouchable. But that's, again, I want to expand more when we actually get to the movies. I don't want to turn this entire part about it.
Wow, Cardiff are celebrating in style. They're 5-0 up on one of the supposed bigger teams in the country, Arsenal. Mind, considering how shit Arsenal have been in recent seasons, is it really that big of a surprise?
I guess not.
Yeah, I guess not. You know more about them than I do.
Basically, Arsenal used to be one of the biggest clubs in the country, winning trophies at least every other season. And their dominance peaked in the 2003-2004 season where they went the whole season without losing a game.
All right, I have the page.
Do any of your American sports have an equivalent of that, Jova?
Probably, yeah. We have a championship, Super Bowl, something for hockey and all that. Yeah, we do. The World Series
anyway,
for
Jova,
baseball. Yeah, Tio?
I have the bases. I have the pages here, so I can tell you. On the complex, all 3 movies were technically box office success. Oh, give me a second, BRB.
New Line Cinema found Tio and kidnapped him.
Substitution for Cardiff City. Coming off the pitch.
Well, I know this manager's been working hard on the training ground.
Okay, could they really only program one face of the manager? Like, even when he's supposedly happy, he's always got
He
that
looks angry, I know.
Jova, that's the thing. That's what his face actually looks like 95% of the time.
Anyway, like I was saying, here are the pages. On the complex, all the 3 movies were technically box office successes, while not on the same level as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The first one had a budget of 200 to 350 million and grossed 1.017 billion. The second one had a budget of 191.2 million, the lowest, and grossed 958.4 million. And the third one had a budget of 250, 300 million and grossed 956 million. So even if the revenue dropped a bit, it still managed to stay mostly consistent overall. It was just the reception that changed. Honestly, it's fine by me. Like I don't think these 3 movies are the worst thing that ever happened, But like I said, I have my reservation, but I will save for when we get to those.
But yeah, I will admit, I do respect a company who, does notice when something does get bad reception, and they don't just go, oh, we don't care because it made money here and there. Granted.
That's the thing, Java. With Warner Bros. It seems to be a habit since you pointed out the same thing for the Batman 90s movies.
Yeah, despite the bad ones making money, they did notice when it was time to change course.
Now the party can officially begin. Cardiff City are the champions of the English Premier League.
Yay.
All right.
So is Danny actually going to lift the cup or someone else?
They'll all get to lift the cup because they're a team.
No, that's now all together, of course, because we're Sonic heroes.
Good game.
GG Nori.
Congratulations, Shiori. Once again, your country takes a trophy in the English league system. How do you feel?
Yeah, they've had to ride the look at times, haven't they? But they've stuck together.
Exactly.
Speechless, apparently.
Led by a top-class manager.
Yes. Yeah. They are. Shiori's so speechless. And
say, like I said, it's only I guess it's the captain who holds it, not Danny.
I mean, they all get a turn to hold it.
I like how he was shaking it like that.
Remember, most of these particular scenes have been mock-capped, so they actually were instructed to act like this.
See, there you go.
A sense of disbelief.
See, Danny's holding it more properly. The other guy was holding it like he was being electrocuted or something.
It's a Hollywood story.
Hollywood story? What the fuck are you guys talking about? First the fairy tale, now the Hollywood story.
Although, funny story.
Also, Jesus Christ, the camera! We clipped through that model. Also, what's going on? I didn't want to see the sky.
There's supposed to be fireworks.
Also,
Oh,
look
the
at
game
Danny's crotch.
glitched. Oh my god. So the
Okay, I was just going to say, I don't know, I can't remember where I saw it, but there was a plan at one point to make a movie based on the season where Leicester City won the Premier League.
Playing as an attacker is about more than just scoring goals, Dwibs. It's about keeping possession with final third.
Season's over, who cares?
but yeah, that's an amazing glitch you caught there, Dwibs.
Also, Dwibs, what was particular about that season?
Well, That was bear in mind, Leicester only just came back up from the Premier League the season before, and they nearly got relegated. And the season they won the title, they were like 15. They were like very. Basically, Tio, Leicester were like 1,500 to 1 to win the title, and they were odds-on favourites to go down. So them winning the title was one of the biggest shocks in the history of sport, actually.
Huh. Alright, Butler, we'll be happy for a change.
That bit was literally a Freaks and Geeks moment where he goes in with the fake out there.
Maybe he's caught on to his reputation.
That's a hard ass.
Yeah. And so ends Chapter 3.
Collision course.
Collision course for Danny. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the target man traits, but I won the title.
Oh well.
So let me guess. So for the first time you had them duke it out, you chose Danny, but for the second time to balance stuff out, you'll choose Alex.
Yeah.
Neat.
So it's like I said, they're continuing Danny beyond this point will simulate any unplayed portion of Alex's storyline.
So instead, let's see how he actually fares out.
Yeah, let's complete Alex's bit.
Wouldn't it be funny if Alex's chapter 3 ends with him finally firing Beatrice because she's apparently becoming a Jezebel to him?
Also, clean the fucking kitchen.
Again with that
Chinese
Chinese
Premier League,
food.
Danny, surely you can at least afford a cleaner.
Yeah, seriously.
Actually, that's a good point. Okay, no, to be fair, no, we're still missing a chapter, so we'll see what happened with that supposed subplot about, Danny being in red with his money.
Oh, God.
Right.
I wonder if his brother is going to come back and fix everything up for him.
So our next match is we're away to Valladolid.
Ah.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
What a bizarre emblem.
Yeah.
It is weird.
I'm guessing it's connected to...
3 swords, a crown, and 2 shields. What the hell is this?
Soundtrack from Sonic Jam.
Huh.
Huh.
I don't know which one this is.
Is this the overworld theme?
Oh my god,
It's
that
the music.
face!
Ah.
Oh gosh.
It's the music that plays when you're about to start one of those little mini games.
Seriously,
okay.
EA either upgrade the Frostbite engine so that it can work properly, or just make a new engine for your sports games.
He looked like one of those Crusade events to see, oh, well, how will Professor Layton look in real life? With the beady eyes and everything.
Yeah.
Luke, why does Luke? Every time I meet someone, they always run away in terror. Why did he do that?
It's because you're one of the mutants, I'm afraid, Professor. Due to the Frostbite engine not being able to handle it. Also,
It's a
what?
frostbite.
It's something that's gotten very outdated.
Tell you what, it wasn't the easiest of chances that.
Another angle on it here.
Trying to think what it would have looked like in the Fox engine.
Oh, you might have actually looked very good. The Fox engine is something... Well, then again, the Fox engine is pretty old now, too. And it's being used for pachinko games.
That's why in the, as of the day of this recording, the current version of PES that's out is going to be the last one to use the Fox engine, because they're going to do Unreal Engine 4.
Oh, Christ.
In the next month.
Christ, even Konami are learning to upgrade over EA.
It's kind of a shame because the Fox engine was really a nifty tool for what it was worth it.
I guess at this point, Unreal, okay, while it may seem like it's becoming a bit homogenous out there, the Unreal Engine 4, I will admit, is something that can handle, well, a lot of stuff. Like, it's kind of like... Huh?
Except doors.
But yeah, from what I've seen, Unreal Engine 4 seems to be capable of handling just about every genre type of game, apparently. So there's that. Again, it needs to be used properly, but it does seem like it is around to stay until
So
Unreal
it is the
Engine
second
5.
half.
What are your thoughts on the Unreal Engine 4 craze, Tio?
Honestly, I'm fine with it. Like I said, I do believe the thing that it doesn't manage to render is mostly depends on who decides to do it. Remember also the more infamous cases like Street Fighter V, for example, which look, I actually have been more tolerant towards it. It still doesn't deny the fact that at the beginning stuff like Can Space were literally unwatchable. Even though I still argue the game right now is actually in a playable state, at least in terms of how to look at it. But it did work for me for the most part, if I have to be honest. The only downside to it is the fact that because of its nature, people who want to do it have to pay royalties to Epic Games, which is not something that I really want these days. But alas, it's a necessary evil.
Like, yeah, for as much as I am not a fan of Epic Games, goddamn, did they make an engine that just works, unlike most of what Todd Howard tries to shovel onto
Okay,
us.
we haven't seen yet. The actual Unreal 5 being applied, despite the fact that we actually had a showcase of it last year, actually. So we'll have to see who's gonna be the first to actually try to experiment with it.
Any thoughts, Shiroi?
Honestly, the whole Epic Games stuff is just so muddied, I just don't even know where to look anymore.
Well, okay.
It's just something I've actively been avoiding.
Okay, ignoring that. Your thoughts on the usage of Unreal Engine 4 across the board?
I don't really care, honestly, because that's more of a problem with companies rather than us, so...
It's also a different case, Jova, compared to, say, the Unity engine. Because with Unreal 4, you can do pretty much whatever you want and you manage to get still a product that works without too much of a problem. Unity, as an engine, it works if you know what to do, it does work. But if you fuck up even slightly, your game is going to be essentially very unplayable for everyone.
Yeah. Unity is something that's very complex to use, and even if you do know how to use it, you have to ask, are you getting better quality with that, or with Unreal Engine 4?
Now, the one thing, apparently from what I've been told, from when people actually do games, it seems that Unity is a bit more favorable for users who wants to actually program than Unreal 4. Unreal 4 gives you more options, but it's a bit more difficult to master, while, Unity is more easy to learn.
That's weird, because from what I understand, Unity, while easier to learn, seems a lot easier to also screw up with as well.
Well, just like I said.
There we are, 8-0.
I wonder who's gonna win.
Yes.
Oh, we have. Match is over. Just got one more left to do after a training session.
Okay.
Yeah, Dwibs is a bit late to try and pick a new mentor now.
And yet you're doing it. Wow.
Might as well, I guess.
Yeah, so I can at least say I got started. I just ran out of time.
Okay, Cortex.
Come on. Would you look at that? Mr. Alex Hunting pots another one. Hashtag pure class. At least, Danny's into the spirit as well.
Of course.
Well done, Danny. Have a clap.
Open training. Focus and discipline. Let's go.
Oh, special stage.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Special stage streams before they became utter unfair.
Honestly, this works.
Yeah.
Gotta kick the ball fast, Alex.
Gotta kick fast. Score, score, Mr. Alex Hunter. We need you to score!
Jesus, okay, don't have to yell at me.
Well, it's in all caps.
So, I guess this is now the semi-final for Alex's team.
Well, it's going to be the final match that they have to
For La
play
Liga.
before they can lift the Liga title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, top's pretty much all set.
Well, what is this? Yay.
It's a Shinobi track.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And today it's Real Madrid against Sevilla.
Oh, wow, they even got a choir.
Remember, that's Real Madrid's theme.
Wow, that's majestic sounding.
Well, wouldn't you want to have a majestic sounding theme, especially when you're about to become the champions?
Okay, I cannot speak for Joe Dwibs, but if it was my case, not much. If I had to have a musical theme, I prefer without lyrics.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, there are instances where they can work, but I do believe for the most part they can be distracting.
Imagine if that accompanied you on your everyday life.
Like for example, let's look for an opening. For example, the X-Men cartoon opening doesn't need any lyrics, but it's super on the point. It's super epic, and that's the visual basically telling you what you need to. So of course, my country instead replaced it with a very generic opening that basically treats you like a moron and tells you what each character does.
Wait, you guys made a lyrical tune for the X-Men cartoon?
That's the thing, Jova. Much like with animes, my country loved to do their own versions of opening of cartoons and sometimes some TV series all over the place. But I can tell you this, for the X-Men cartoon, it seemed that someone got the message that what they did was stupid, because for actual re-releases they kept the original American opening, which, like I said, is infinitely better. Stuff like that, or the Spider-Man animated opening.
It's interesting you say, guys, talk about different intros depending for cartoons, depending on where you live. Because interesting thing, I think it's in the Mexican version. I think it's the Mexican version anyway. Of He-Man, the original cartoon, they added lyrics to the theme song.
I mean, how does that even work? The original opening is instead He-Man announcing his powers.
That's the thing, though. He still does that in that version.
Oh my god, that sounds very confusing.
You know, Tio, it's funny you mention lyrics because the Spider-Man cartoon did have lyrics.
True, but they're formulated in such a way that you can definitely feel they're kind of like part of the music themselves rather than something that you need to pay attention to. This is my argument that I say about how the music is constructed for Nier and Drakengard, the later Drakengard games. There are still words and lyrics, but you're not supposed to pay attention to what is actually said, but how melodic they sound.
Mm-hmm.
But for another example, Jova, instead, for opening that they fucked up, the Batman one, the Batman cartoon one, remember, the original one used at least a part where this was inspired by, Danny Elfman's theme.
Oh, yeah.
From the Batman 1989 one. Nope, we have rather, not necessarily a generic one, but one that doesn't fit at all with the themes of Batman.
Seriously?
It really sounds out of place.
For a second there, I thought he was giving the middle finger to his own.
So
to be fair, with the glitchy model, it might as well have been.
So describe it to you. What, did they add in happy-go-lucky lyrics or something?
Okay, it's okay to describe it. Let me try to actually to summarize.
Oh, is it like how Japan changed Captain Scarlet's theme song into a jolly song?
Okay, I don't think it's very jolly. Okay, if you remember Jova, being Daniel and everything, it's this orchestral epic curve that builds up. Um, they used instead a type of synth that goes slightly disco.
Oh.
I know it sounds weird, but trust me. Like I said, keep in mind, Jova. I'm compared to you. I'm terrible at describing music.
So is it
So
like
you
the
have to
Puma
take my
Man
word
thing?
for the time. I will give you a link later if you want.
Sure.
But it's a bit better than similar conversion like the aforementioned X-Men opening, but it's still very much worse compared to the original American one.
From what you're describing, it sounds like it turned into something like you would hear from the original Terminator flick.
Oh, a bit, I guess. Keep in mind, this is a bit in tune because for the voice acting of the Batman animated series, they changed a lot of people. Not they changed, but there are a lot of people that did not sounded at all like their counterparts. But on that case, I did believe it worked for the best. Like for example, the person they chose for the Joker is someone who isn't remotely trying to sound like Mark Hamill. Instead, goes for a more snivelly kind of voice. But I do believe it works much more better, and he has become the de facto voice actor for the Joker, voicing him in almost every role that he appears animated-wise.
Really? Huh.
Yes, that's the thing that I prefer on that front, Jova. Unlike in America, the Joker voice acting for Joker and Batman tends to stay consistent almost all across the board. Like I love John DiMaggio, but I do believe him as the Joker in Red Under the Red Hood just doesn't work.
I actually feel like he does work in his own way. Like, the thing about the Joker is, like, well, with all the different takes here, it's kind of in the Joker's nature to be random or change from era to era here. Like, so, in a way, people have gotten used to the idea that, oh, he can have these incredibly different personas, but the idea is still the same. He's an insane madman who likes to make people laugh in his own special brand of ways here, and is an egomaniac who would rather die in the most glorious way possible than die under anticlimactic circumstances. Seriously, if there's one reason the animated series version of Joker is my favorite, is like, well, okay, he's one of my favorite takes on the Joker, in the sense where the Joker is still a guy who does fear death. He's not some nigh-invulnerable man who totally wants to go down or get Batman to kill him all willy-nilly here and there. I mean, don't get me wrong, he would definitely find satisfaction with that in the animated series, but the animated series adds a bit of a caveat here. He does not want to go out in a way where he would be forgotten. Hence, the climax of the ever-fan-favorite episode... Well, not just that, but I was also going to say this, the fan-favorite episode, Joker's Favor here, where this one random punk who Joker picks on and just pushes to his every nerve actually does threaten to kill him, and, like, he legit has Joker scared. Not just simply because Joker fears death, but because Joker fears the mundaneness of it all, and also the irony of it too. Him being taken out, not in some climactic battle with Batman, but by some victim of his who he just drove off the edge here and there.
And considering what is the canonical death of that particular version of the Joker, it's kinda ironic.
Yes, very, very ironic. Like I said, the Bruce Timm-verse may have its issues, but I would argue that still to this day might be the best take on the superhero universe as a whole in terms of, media here. Yes, even better than the MCU. I mean, don't get me wrong, MCU definitely has the notch in live action stuff, but when it comes to animated stuff, the Bruce Timm-verse still definitely did it wonderfully. Like, well, from the way that they slowly but surely added characters to the cast here, to when we finally get the meeting of the Big Seven in Justice League, and then culminating in, well, okay, there's also the Future series and Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond.
And
That's also another thing. I'm always surprised when Marvel never tried to follow the success of Batman Beyond by trying to making cartoons of their 2099 universe.
Has there ever been a Justice League video game?
Yes,
Ooh,
several.
I think so.
There was a... Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, there are quite a few, actually.
I'm gonna check in the meantime for details, Dwibs.
That goal.
That was...
poor guy, it came off him, and he will be credited for that as his own goal.
Ouch.
Poor
What?
guy.
From what I understand, that's one of the highest dishonors you can. Eh?
Sorry, David.
From what I understand, that's one of the highest dishonors you can get in the game of soccer.
Yeah, I mean, what's worse, being sent off for scoring an own goal?
Scoring an own goal. Like,
There we go.
Think about it.
Spot
If you get sent off and your team loses, then at least people won't blame you for the team losing. But if it's an own goal,
they would. You're serious, Joe? But have you seen our game half the time? You get sent off, as your team loses, you'd be criticised as the one guy that cost them the match.
Well, okay. I guess if you get sent off because of your own attitude, or you legit messed up, then yeah, I guess it is technically your fault in that regard.
Okay, there we go. There was Justice League Task Force for the Mega Drive, the Genesis, and the Super Nintendo, done by Blizzard apparently, and Sunsoft. Okay, that's interesting. Then there was Justice League Injustice for All for the Game Boy Advance. Let's see. Then it was
that
Justice
based off
League.
the cartoon?
I think so. The same for the next one, Justice League Chronicles, still for the Game Boy Advance, but released exclusively in America apparently. Then Justice League Heroes for the 2006 for PlayStation 2, Xbox, and exclusively in America for the Nintendo DS.
I think I remember that one. That one has Zatanna in it.
I think so. Apparently, as a tie-in, as a tie-in Game Boy Color, so it's a Game Boy Advance, game called Justice League Heroes: The Flash. And lastly, an arcade 2009 video game called Justice League Heroes United. Then everything done after was stuff that involved the DC superheroes, like say in Injustice or DC Universe Online.
Well, Dwibs, I guess those will be good introductions for you regarding Zatanna. From what Dwibs showed me, apparently there's a Zatanna movie in the making.
Oh, interesting. To be fair, Zatanna was also a DLC for the first Injustice game, though that's not saying much. I argue that her moveset is just a tad generic in that game.
Zatanna is an interesting character moveset-wise.
Yes, Dwibs?
Well, Jova, the Justice League cartoon is on iTunes. Well, 2 seasons of Justice League and 2 seasons of its
Unlimited
sequel.
Yeah, okay. Let me put it like this. Justice League Unlimited is technically a different show, but the continuity is so tightly knitted that some people consider the 2 seasons of Unlimited to be 2 extra seasons of League. That said, though, yeah, as I was saying earlier, Justice League Unlimited is pretty much the proper culmination of a super universe. Like, pretty much every DC hero is there, and they all do get their moments to shine, too. Like, yeah, that's one thing I do really like about Justice League Unlimited. It really does do a great job at giving every superhero, big or small, sometimes so you could recognize them.
I thought you were going to say, for a second there, I thought you were going to say, Justice League Unlimited, that's where all the DC heroes live happily ever after.
Well, if you want to, instead of that ending, the movie, the animated movie that came out recently, I forgot what it's specifically called, the one title tied to the Invasion of Apocalypse, is bittersweet at best. It was marketed as the official end of that particular continuity, and it shows.
So, what happens? Do all the Justice League die or something?
Close enough. That's the thing, so there's also a lot of build-up, and it's also connected to the Justice League Dark movie, which is it's not really that great, which is kind of a shame because I'm kind of a fan of John Constantine. So...
Constantine, was that what that got turned into?
Yes, 2005 with Keanu Reeves.
This was before he had become, the ultra god of cool that he's now considered to be.
And kind of an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really get it. John Constantine, yes, was not a very conventional hero, but as soon as he became a bit more popular with the DC universe, in the DC comic universe, they decided to turn him into a dick for no real reason.
I feel like
For a second, I
nowadays.
thought you were talking about Keanu
Most-
Reeves being an ass.
Mostly the idea behind it would be that he would have to do, necessary evil to save millions of lives, But most of the time he's portrayed in an unintentionally unsympathetic kind of way.
I think
So-
later down the line they balanced this character back out. I think. Don't quote me
It's a
on
bit
that.
flip-flopping on that front, Jova, so it's your choice.
And there we are, guys. Alex
Now it's
Hunter
time-
and Real Madrid can finally lift the La Liga title.
Yeah, it's time for Alex to actually hold the trophy.
And I would say something in Spanish, but I barely know any.
Me gusta, I guess.
That's going to be the closest you'll get. An Italian-speaking Spanish. Jova, do you know any?
La Victoria. Or Viva. Wait, Vamos, mi amigos.
Donde estás mis pantalones?
Yes, where are my pants?
Yes. Welcome everyone to Spanish lessons with Squirm Comps.
Please don't
No.
take note of any of this.
Go to school.
we are not responsible for your failing grades.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to university or something.
That said, though, yeah, if you learn Spanish from, like, elementary to high school, good luck using that in an actual Spanish-speaking country.
Like I said, Jova, I
Good
learned.
luck using any language lessons that you learn
pretty
in
much,
your
because
years.
remember,
Well,
Jova, I supposedly studied French for like 3 years, but I learned so little from it because I just
One
wasn't
thing
into it.
one thing that I want to do when the pandemic subsides is go on a university level French language course.
Why, when the pandemic subsides, couldn't that be something that you could technically do,
Because I prefer to do that kind of learning in an actual learning environment, opposed to just be here where I'm just
Behind a
trying to-
screen.
fair
Whereas
enough.
I hate classrooms, so online it is.
But that means I get to go out the house for a bit.
Yay.
But there
There
are
we are.
people
Real
Dwibs.
Madrid, the champions of the La Liga Bank League. It's a Santander as a Spanish bank,
Yeah,
which
that's
actually has a presence here in Britain as well.
Yes, it does. That's the question, though. Do I hate the classroom or the people?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that is not in game. Okay.
Yeah. Suddenly, FIFA The Journey became an
Object.
attorney game.
Someone objects to Annex victory.
Wow, rude.
FIFA. They found
Nobody
out that
cares
Alex,
what FIFA says.
They found out that Alex was taking drugs or something.
Alex, we're filming.
Yo, wake up.
Wake up, get out there. Also, what are you holding?
Out of your hair.
Yeah,
What
fuck
is
this
that?
shit.
Well, now we'll never know.
That's what I'd be singing.
Hey, you need to check this out.
Ooh, what's Kim got for him?
I found this
I
cat
wonder.
video.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's right, his grandfather.
Jim, remember the thing that we saw
Hey,
at the
come to
beginning?
think of it, where is his grandfather? Is he alright? Like, there's that one thing that suggested he was in
Devoted
bed.
to extra Jova, not too uncommon.
That's weird. He had that scene that suggested there was something wrong
So,
with his health.
who did they
and
actually
then-
got to voice young Jim Andre? Are they still the same person? I guess.
I don't know.
That's football. Truth is, once you're out there, you just block everything else out. Nothing matters but the game. 11 against
Let me guess, this is to show that you should remember family matters and all that.
that goal make all
No, it's also the root of the sport. It hasn't changed over the decades, Jova. People change, but the sport does, and you feel it in your
if there's
veins or
one-
some shit like that.
If there's one thing in football that has remained the same, is that you kick a ball into the net and score.
Okay.
Also,
whips up
that,
the
also,
music.
that
also
shader.
compared
This was not Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Also, another one of the few things that have changed is people don't wear suits to a foot. The fans don't anymore.
What?
Oh, Dwibs, you
There we
didn't
go.
achieve the maximum mentor ranking.
Chapter 3 done with Alex.
What was up with that music going all superhero on us?
It's Hans Zimmer, remember?
Yeah,
The music
remember
has been
Hans
getting
Zimmer and
very
the other guy.
serious.
Oh, so it's actually recommends
recommended
to
that
go
you
with
do
Kim.
Kim's first.
Yeah. So, let's see.
Now what?
Chapter 4. And Chapter 4 is actually really short.
I can imagine, because we're almost at the end.
Wow, that was really it, huh?
Yep, that was
The
that
black
was chapter
screen.
4. That was chapter 4. You picked the character.
Wow.
Roll credits.
Development. Right, they must have been on a tight schedule.
Yeah, I know, right? So, join us in the next part where we conclude Kim's journey.
In
Oh,
chapter
neat.
5.
See ya.
4.
See ya.